Hey everybody, and welcome back to another iiRcade Gamedaze. I'm your host, Michael, executive producer here at iiRcade, and like my little overlay says and everything like that too. Of course, Operation Wolf is officially here on iiRcade today, both with light gun and with joystick. So let's talk about that. We're going to get into it. In case you've been living under a rock and you haven't seen the trailer yet, let me go ahead and start off with that first. Once I can actually find it. There we go. All right. So without further ado, here's Operation Wolf.
Operation initiated. Operation Wolf.
All right. Well, here we are. Zhang, I think you're muted again, buddy. Did you mute yourself?
All
right, there we go. All right.
What's up, my family? How's everybody doing? Woo! This is John. How are you? So great to see everybody. Woo! Today, we bring you Operation Wolf. Guys happy?
I'm happy. I don't know if you're asking me or the community here. That's why. Am I supposed to be pulling up comments? Here we go. All right.
Yeah,
it's weird for me to have a co-host again. So.
I set this up this morning. I've been playing this whole morning. By the way, just in case you guys don't know, I am living in the future. It's Saturday morning here in Korea.
That's right.
So I am living in the future. So I'm back to the future.
Once again, as always, back to the future here. All right.
Back to the future.
All right, so let's get to the topic of the hour. Right?
Yeah,
it's good to have you back. I mean, not in person here, but it's fine. It's okay. One day soon. You've got Operation Wolf going on behind you. Yeah.
Yep.
So you've got it set up there. I've got it set up here too. Do you want to talk about the game? Do you want me to talk about the game too? Because I can play all day long here. I've already got it going.
Same here as well.
That's right. Okay.
Same here as well.
In case you didn't know in the audience, by the way, those of you with light guns, you can play very far back. I know a lot of people are playing close up. They're very used to it with the home arcade kind of style of cabinets. Typically, you're used to with light guns. You don't have to play that close. This Sinden cable is extremely long. It's 20 feet long, honestly, or 15. It's massive. You can use the entirety of the court if you really want to. You can play super far back. I played it pretty much across the room entirely. So it's up to you if you want to stand close or far back as well, too. Just make sure that you adjust to, and we'll talk about that as well. All right?
If you guys are real gamers, go back 100 feet back and try to shoot.
Yeah, just 100 yards. Yeah, just cross the football field. Why not? Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. So we'll get to Q&A and things like that later on, too. Jean, do you want me to do the Sinden setup real quick first, or do you want to wait until a little later on here?
Go for it.
All right. We'll give you guys one more. All right, I guess we'll give you guys one more video quick in case you missed it on how to set up your Sinden Lightguns for your gold cabinets here too. Super easy setup, but there's one. We do make it plug and play on the machine itself. However, beyond that, with Sinden guns, you do still have to update your firmware to version 1.9 to the Android drivers. So we'll go over that real quick in case you've all missed that video. Then stay tuned. Today, we'll be going over how to use a Sinden Lightgun on an iiRcade. First, you'll need to go to sindenlightgun.com. select the drivers page, and scroll on down until you can find the Android drivers. After downloading, unzip the folder and go inside. Open lightgun.exe. This opens the Sinden Lightgun software. You can see multiple tabs at the top. Hit Select Lightgun. Then, at this point, go ahead and plug in your Lightgun to your computer. Hit Refresh, and it should appear. Hit Select Lightgun, and then underneath you'll see identities for the gun. While the different color variations do work, it's best to select blue for iiRcade. And then, go ahead, hit Update Firmware, and let it run. You can also check the info on the gun at any time with the center button here. At the top right, it'll give you a readout. This will show the set color of your gun, the physical color, the camera type, as well as the firmware version currently you're on. With your Sinden gun now updated for the firmware, you're ready to go. One last thing to be sure of before launching your light gun games on iiRcade is to check the brightness settings. Scroll over to Settings on your console, select Brightness, and set this all the way to max to ensure the best gaming experience with a light gun. Make sure your screen isn't in direct sunlight for glare, and beyond that, you're ready to play with Sinden Lightguns on iiRcade. Thanks, and game on.
All right, there we go. All right. I'm actually playing with recoil right now, by the way, too. So.
Are you? Nice.
Yeah, I am, yeah. I don't know if you can hear the clicking right now, but yeah.
I hear it. I hear
That's
it.
me. That's my vibration, my recoil. All right.
I don't think mine has recoil. Man, you got a better one than I do.
Yours has recoil. I know that.
Mine doesn't. Mine doesn't.
It's the same gun as mine. It's okay.
Mine doesn't. It's a new one that I got.
Yeah, I can show you how to turn on recoil. Okay, it's the same gun as mine. Don't you worry. So
Yep.
the instructions for light guns specifically too with Sindens, right? So currently, again, Sinden is part of our open accessories program. So we actually were able to integrate their Android drivers ourselves, which is great because they went open source. So we were able to manipulate them. It's our first light gun on the system. Maybe there'll be more later. Who knows, right? We've reached out to other companies. It's up to them to sort of bring their drivers and things onto our platform so that we can sort of build them in as well too, right? Same thing goes with like spinners, trackballs, and things like that, right? So beyond that, with light guns with Sinden, right? We're here to talk about Sinden today too, right? So your recoil, I'll show you in a bit too, right? Basic things first. Trigger, of course, is going to shoot. You can hear me firing right now too because I still have my game running. The right side of your gun, as it says in the instructions, the front button is going to be your coins. This inserts coins, and this is going to be to start your game, right? So this is player start essentially too. So same thing as coin and player one start on our machine, or player two start, depending on if you're player one or player two. Operation Wolf is a one-player game. However, keep that in mind. With the other side, so this is the side with the D-pad on it, right? So this is your directional pad right here. I'm mirrored, right? So it's fun. So your directional pad, but beyond the directional pad, these two buttons right now, they're actually both set to bomb for Operation Wolf. So this is how you use your bombs. So again, the right side is going to be your coin as well as your player one start. And then this is going to be both of your bombs here. For recoil, you're actually going to press and hold the right directional pad. You want to hold that for, it says 3 seconds. It's really about 5 seconds, honestly. It likes a longer hold. And sometimes it kind of takes 2 times for it to really kick in. And then you can actually press and hold, and that'll turn it off too. So I'll count like 3, 2, 1, and then this should turn it off. Actually, mine's still on. I'm sorry, I'm cycling through right now. I'll keep cycling through. It's okay. I'll turn it off in a second. There we go. Now I'm off. Now I'm off entirely. Okay. The forward on left on your D-pad, or forward to me, that's actually how if you press and hold that, that's actually going to let you recenter your gun to get your sights aimed properly, right? So if you're ever a little uncalibrated on your gun too, you can recalibrate by pressing and holding left on the D-pad or forward, right? That's super loud on mine. But yeah, anyway, that's it. It's as easy as that. Everything else, it's plug and play, right? So the moment you plug in the gun, it's going to notice that, well, how is your recoil so powerful in that gun? Anyway,
it is. It's awesome.
It's way better than mine. Wow. We had the same gun. Yeah, a little bit. I thought we had the same. Anyway, with that, super easy. So we're making this plug and play as possible. Of course, that's what we do at iiRcade, right? So beyond, of course, you need to update your Sinden guns. That's just Sinden controllers in general. That's what they do. Just like Xbox controllers actually have updates as well, too. Most people don't know that, right? You have to plug those in, too. But beyond that, make sure you update your Sinden guns. We got that video right on our YouTube channel to watch anytime you'd like. But yeah, beyond that, it should just work. It's great. Have at it, right? So
You'll notice also if you have the gun plugged in, you'll have the Sinden border, that white border around it. That's for your gun to detect the area that it's trying to aim within too. So the camera has to be able to pick that up in order to see it. That's why if you have a lot of glare on your screen, that white border gets a little bit distorted for the gun. So it's trying to take in all of this data. And if it can't read that back, it'll be a little wonky. So that's why it's best to keep it sort of like as least glare as possible. If you need to, take off your glass if you want to. I did that too. Anyway, it just depends on where you have your machine set, right? If it's in a basement versus if it's like upstairs and there's a ton of bright light coming in, you might need to wait until night sometimes, honestly, too. Just keep it as dark as possible, essentially, when you're playing the Lightgun games. And again, make sure you turn those brightness settings all the way up. That does affect the game, especially with Sinden, with the border. If it's not a completely really white border, if you're not really above like 75% on your brightness, it doesn't read it properly. So just as a heads up, we actually turned it down real low to test that during testing. It will not pick it up. So just so you know, make sure that you do have brightness on your screen, even though it's not a CRT, right? It is still a light gun in a sense, right? So you do still need to see it. So it needs to be bright and colorful for it. So there you go. Beyond that, if you unplug your Sinden actually, or if you don't have a Sinden plugged in, right? If you're on a standard cab or if you're on a gold cab as well too and just don't have it plugged in, it'll show up without that border. It'll resize itself properly. So you won't actually see the white border. It won't be in your way at all too, which is great. So do keep in mind that you can play this on standard cabs as well too with the joystick and buttons. Again, different experience with Lightgun, of course. However, Operation Wolf was actually, most people don't know this, right? It's actually an analog stick. It's not really a Lightgun game. So the original cab for Operation Wolf is actually a gun mounted on there, and it's an analog stick underneath that, right? So typically speaking, it's actually more towards our controller for the gameplay than with the Lightgun, which is crazy enough, which I didn't realize for the longest time until we opened up the machine. But yeah, there you go. So, all right. With that, any questions on like setting up or making this plug and play for your iiRcade or like the buttons and stuff on Sinden? We can go over that really quick. If there's any questions on that, let me get to those now. Go ahead and put some cues, some question marks. If there's anything I can see in chat that I can read specifically related to setup of the Sinden for Operation Wolf, essentially.
I feel like Lara Croft.
How is your so loud? I don't understand.
Is it that loud?
It's so much better. It sounds like it's so much higher than maybe it's your mic, but your sound's way more powerful than mine, honestly.
It actually feels very different from the one that you have. It feels very sturdy and very snappy. Yeah,
it sounds like it, honestly. That sounds intense. That's like a real anyway.
So who said this was a light gun?
Find some different ones over there in South Korea. See. All right. Here we go. Okay, Rascal's asking here, can we default the recoil to machine gun so we don't have to enable it every time? Not currently. So it's not really built into our system. That's really built more into the gun itself. So that's not quite into our control currently, at least too. We'll see if we can change that in the future. Again, this isn't our gun, right? This isn't our controller. This isn't our hardware. So we have to sort of work within the bounds that we can. It's a spectrum of things that we can do to it. So beyond that, we'll see. Like a save state for if you want recoil on or off too. Yeah, that's a great idea too. We've thought about that before as well too. It just didn't quite make it in time. I don't know if it's something that we can do in the future or not. I won't promise you that, but it's something we're looking into still. So yeah, stay tuned on that one. But yeah, it's a great question, Rascal.
It really feels good though. The recoil.
The recoil? Yeah.
Yeah, it feels really, really nice.
Once you get some real powerful solenoids in these things someday, I'm sure it's going to be great. So give mine to GRS Thunderstick products. They're making their own Sinden guns as well too. Actually licensed.
I'm really looking forward to that.
While you can't buy these guns through us, you do have to go through the Sinden website as well as you can buy them at GRS right now, honestly too. So there you go. So go ahead and pick them up in those locations, especially. Directly buying from Sinden, it's probably maybe your fastest route. I don't honestly know right now too, but we will not be selling these on our website, so keep that in mind. There's no direct links or anything, so yeah, if you do want to play with them, that's how it is. Same thing, we don't sell other people's hardware on our site. That's just not what we do currently. GRS products will, but that's a different thing. We have a partnership entirely that's totally different monster, right? So, all right, any other questions on the controls for the light guns or the setup on them before we move on? See, I'm not going to take any of those other questions till later. We'll do questions later on too, like full Q&A too, of course. Yeah. This is just for related to the guns themselves right now and the setup on those and the buttons.
I'm like really itching to play the game right now.
That's fun. I know, it's fun.
Shall we end the broadcast so that we can start playing?
That's okay. But we'll continue on. We'll keep going. Okay, no other questions on the thing. It's good. I mean, we make this as simple as possible for controls and stuff, so I'm glad that there's not a lot of questions on it too. Yeah, beyond really a comment from Rascal is really what it is, honestly, more than questions. Too. But it's a good one too that we've thought about before too. The saving of the recoil. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah,
all right.
Before we continue, I just wanted to let everybody know how much of a lot of amazing hard work that Michael put in to make this happen. As you guys may know, I think we announced it in September, and it took us a little while to make this happen. And there's a reason why, great reason why. That's because we wanted to make this experience the best possible for you. And guess who made it happen? This guy and his team.
Not on me. Not on me. Big shout out
a lot of people.
To Ryan, especially, who did some of our editing for the ROM, which we'll go over in a little bit here too. Of course.
Yeah. I think a lot of people put a lot of effort into making this happen. So we didn't just let this sit and rot, right?
No.
We were continuously working on it. It was very difficult to make this amazing experience happen. So just wanted to let you know that bringing a game is very, very hard. It takes a lot of effort.
Yeah.
It takes a long time. If we want to do it right, and we want to do it right, so that's the reason why. But today, you're seeing the results. So I'm hoping that you guys like it.
A couple of the questions here related to just the Sinden guns in general too. Looks like Nix has a question: would the marquee light interfere with the light guns? Not typically. It's very rare that happens. If you're in maybe a super, super dark room, but honestly, no, because the coloring on our marquees, none of them are pure white. Even like the dead cells you see behind Zhang is lit up. Mine aren't lit up right now too, but even dead cells behind you, that's probably our closest to white kind of coloring on any of the marquees, right? That does not interfere too. That's the one I typically test within my office, honestly, too. So even with that on, it doesn't really get in the way. The Sinden is really looking for that pure white border kind of thing. So if it doesn't find that anywhere, that's really what it's looking for more than anything else. So yeah, the marquee does not interfere with it at all. So no worries on that too. Even at the distance that you stand far back, it doesn't really matter. So you're good. Then MCAP's also one more question here. We got, what does the light gun to blue do? Yeah, so that's great. You should probably ask Sinden, honestly, on that one. That's more a question for them than for me. What I can tell you is that if you do set the light gun to blue, it tends to work better. We originally set it up that way, not because we actually had a blue color gun, because we didn't. Weirdly enough, we actually had black and red. We didn't have a blue at that time. Zhang's is blue now.
Mine's blue.
So blue is typically represents player one for Sinden. I think that's just like a default thing that happened at one point in time. It's usually blue is player one, red is player two. Just kind of worked out that way too. And then black just kind of came into the mix later too. They've also got gray now, right? But yeah, it really doesn't matter too much. It's just best for us, we found, to set it to blue too. You can technically set it to red or black as well, and it'll work just fine. The big thing is if you have two guns, we haven't really talked about this too much yet. If you do have two guns, make sure that you do have them both to the exact same color setting. I don't care if it's black, red, or blue, honestly, too. It should be blue. Again, it's best to set to blue for us, I can tell you that. But even if it's not blue. set them both. Yeah, blue is best. But if they are black or red, make sure that they're both set to the same exact color, or you might encounter issues later on down the road, potentially, too, if we do release multiplayer gun games, essentially. So, yeah. There you go. That's really the color. But yeah, any further than that, you got to go directly to Sinden. That one's not on me. So there you go. All right. With that, moving on, right, Zhang? We want to talk about a little bit of the game, right? The actual game itself, right? We haven't really talked about it yet.
It's awesome.
Let's bring it up here a little bit, right?
This game is one of my childhood nostalgia. And when I was young, you guys here went to arcades when you were young. In the 80s, I went to arcades and I saw this game. I'm like, oh my God, this is like the best game. So the music, the light gun setup, the game itself, it just resonated with me when I was young, right? So this game was one of the games that I'm like, I have to get this. No matter whether we have light gun support or not, we have to get this game. So we went for it and we got it. And we added light gun support to gold tabs. And here we are.
Yeah.
It is an amazing game. I really, really love this game personally.
Yeah, this is a fun one, right? So, 1987, I believe, from Taito was operated the original Operation
Something like
Wolf
that,
that we're
yeah.
seeing here. Yep, sounds right. Yeah, 87. Yes, correct. So, and it is one of the first Lycan games, kind of ever, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
It was originally a mounted gun on the machine too. That's why I say it was an analog stick and not actually a light gun, technically speaking, for that initial machine, which is cool. So, it actually plays more similar to our joystick. So, with the joystick as well too, if you're playing on a standard or even a gold, plays with the joystick as well too. Keep in mind, 2 joystick and buttons. You don't have to necessarily play with the light gun on gold either. If you are playing with joystick, that took a lot of tuning. We sped up and slowed down a lot of times to get that movement just right, so that you could actually like kill all the bad guys on screen essentially too. Because there was a time when it was moving so slow and you couldn't do anything, and you couldn't save the hostages or anything. I remember doing that. And then we sped it up, and then it was too uncontrollable, and it was just like everywhere, right? So we did all that. So yeah, just the tuning on the joystick, that took a lot of time, honestly. It took a couple weeks to really feel that in properly. A lot of testing on that one too. Beyond that too, some of the things too that Taito, of course, has requested from us. This is the original version of the game. This is the original ROM game. However, there are some changes. One being, of course, I think we've mentioned this before, is the nurses that you'll see that run by sometimes too. Not the bikini babes, but the nurses, right? So they used to have a red cross on their hat, right? So the red cross symbol essentially too. Due to, weirdly enough, the Geneva Convention, we can't do that. A game, if you guys have ever actually played like Among Us, they actually ran into the same exact problem we found out too with crosses in their med bay. They had to change the color on them. They can't be reds. So you can see the nurses running there. There's no crosses on them. They're just white. So that's one, along with we did add infinite continues. So which kind of mucks up the leaderboards a little bit. So it gets a little murky there, but it's okay. That was, again, a request from Taito, but also you guys want this game to have infinite continues or else it's a nightmare. You would probably buy this game and refund it pretty quick, because getting past level 2 in its own can be very difficult, right? So there you go. And even with infinite continues, the last boss, the Apache, is an absolute beast of a boss to get through. It's always the helicopter level, right? It's always the helicopter levels in these games. So the last level itself is very difficult. However, the Apache boss at the very end, even with infinite continues, is kind of ridiculous, because the game itself does drop you back to the beginning of the level each time you die. So it's an onslaught, right? Beyond that, too, other edits that we did. I'm trying to think. Adding in the crosshair to the game, of course, too. With light gun, you will see the crosshair, and even with joystick, you'll see the crosshair, because without it, you really couldn't play the game, right? So we did have to add in the crosshairs for this game as well, too, just to make sure that you guys could actually play the game properly, essentially, too. Even though the original game did not have the crosshair, because you could point and shoot on screen. It was a mounted gun. It was a little different than when you're aiming with a little bit away from the screen, right? So, but beyond that, with the joystick, you need to be able to see where you're actually on screen, right? So, or else it doesn't make sense. So, a lot of work went into this game. Even the free bullets there that you see, the like super bullets, we actually edited those as well too, because the white flashing was very, very egregious. It was every single shot fired, which is extremely rapid fire. So you're seeing like, I don't even know. It was something like 10 white frames a second or something like that too. It's basically pure white screen at that point. So we had to slow that down to a little bit, a lot less, right? So a lot of work went into this game, a lot of love. So which took a little bit of time, of course, as things do, but it's how it goes. Otherwise, it's Operation Wolf, right? So those changes are, they're minimal. They're cosmetic for the most part, right? So
yeah, one of the things that we've promised is that all the games that we release are compatible for both gold editions as well as OGs, the classic editions. And it actually took us a lot of effort to make that happen. Like Michael said, the support for joysticks and button play mechanic for people who have gold units but don't have light guns, or for those who have classic editions. We want to make sure that the game is supported for your units as well. So the time that we put in to make this happen, I think it's at least as much as the time that we put in to make the light gun support happen. One of the reasons why it got delayed as well. And the approval for that was pretty brutal as well. But we're going to just let you know that I understand that the classic editions do not have USBs to support USB light guns, but at least if you want to play the game using joystick and button setup, we put in our efforts to make it happen for you. So
yeah, and that's something we said from the start too. Yeah, that we're trying to still work it in both ways, right? So you can still play the game on either version of the cabinet that you have. So, but of course, there's some differences, right? So, all right, we'll actually remove this from the screen. There we go.
Yeah.
All right, back to us.
And if you're disappointed about the crosses, talk to Geneva Convention.
Yeah, literally, that's like a war treaty thing that we have to abide by, which is crazy. We had no idea until Taito brought that up, and we're like, wow, okay, that's a real thing. I actually dealt with that when I worked on a project for Wolfenstein. The Colossus, we actually had the version for Germany is a little bit different. It's a very edited version of the game, right? So we had a lot of those things we had to abide by too. This was not a game that I was thinking would require an edit like that, but
I didn't even notice that there was a cross there, the red cross there.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't have thought twice about it, right? So.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way,
Right.
I totally agree with you. The game does play really well with joystick and button setup.
We tuned that for weeks, literally. This took a lot of testing to get that to feel proper, right? So that you could actually get all the enemies on screen. And so we have beaten the game with joystick, by the way. So just as a heads up, it's possible. So.
Yeah, but it does feel great. I've played it as well. So if you try it out, right, hopefully you won't be disappointed.
Yeah, what a good time. If you like Operation Wolf, it's a great version of it, you know?
Yeah. It plays similar to Cabal, right? If you play using...
Kind of. Yeah, sure. I mean, Cabal too. Right. So Cabal was never a light gun game either too. Cabal was a trackball game, right? So a little bit of a different play style too, but yeah, very similar to like a Cabal or like a Heated Barrel. Heated Barrel. Yeah, Heated Barrel.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
Going crazy on, right?
Anyway. You're fine.
The other tag game, but yes. One of the cowboy tag games. Heated Barrel. Anyway, sure, yeah. You could say it's also sort of similar to something like Alligator Hunt as well too, technically speaking. So
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, but yeah, I would say Cabal is probably your biggest thing. Cabal also released on NES, just like this game did too. So there is a console version of this game as well too. So yeah, so comparably, you did play it with just a normal controller at one point, which is cool.
Yeah, I think we're getting a lot of questions. So
sure, we can go to questions now. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's one question that's like keep on coming over and over again. Let me address that, and that is light gun support for OG cabinets, the classic editions. So let me give a quick history. Originally, we had absolutely no intention whatsoever to bring support for light guns to iiRcade.
Yeah.
Right. It was supposed to be a console targeted for joystick and button configuration style games. So this is what we created for the classic editions, right? And then afterwards, we got flooded with requests for light gun. But unfortunately, the classic editions were designed intentionally for joystick and button configuration, right? And obviously, we're not magicians, right? It cannot. If you're born with two hands, we cannot make three hands. Or let's say you buy a 1080p TV, right? If you ask us to bring 4K capability to a FHD or 1080p TV, obviously it's impossible, right? Yeah. Without upgrading your hardware. So what we did is we brought the functionality to the gold edition, right? Because again, classic edition, there was no way, right, to add USB support into the unit. So we modified our gold edition design so that we can bring it to you. So this is why and how gold edition was born, right?
That plus the marquee and other things like that too.
Yeah, that too.
That everybody requested for the entire first year. So
yeah, even for gold edition too. Initially, there was no intention to bring light gun capability.
True.
And we added it in, right? We added it in because you requested for it. So because you requested it, we made it. We make gold edition happen.
Yeah. So this is the other thing that we typically get asked, right? Is Bluetooth option available, right? There's no current Bluetooth light guns that are available. That doesn't exist currently, not in a good state, right? You might say something like a Wii control, right? That I get all the time too. those drivers don't really exist for a system like ours. It's not something we can integrate. It's just not a thing, really, honestly. And they don't work the same. There's a lot of information that gets taken in. So this is really a camera, right? It's a camera that works also like a mouse on screen. That's really what these light guns kind of are nowadays, right? That's how they take in information through the camera and they manipulate all that data and make sense of it, right? That's really what a light gun is. Because of that, that's a lot of data going through there, right? To pass something like that through a hardwire, it's a little bit different than passing all that data through Bluetooth, through radio waves, right? So that's very different and complex too, right? So they don't exist quite yet, not in the form that we can at least safely integrate into our system properly. And then beyond that, yeah. So again, we're not the hardware manufacturers for this. Sinden is in this case, right? So, and we know there's others out there too, like Gun for IR, Aim Track, things like that, right? So it's up to them to work with us to integrate them into our system, essentially, to make them available to us, to bring them to you, essentially, right? That's the whole point of the Open Accessories program. So yeah, unfortunately for Bluetooth light guns, it's just not an option right now, right? For other things like trackballs and spinners, different story potentially, right?
Yeah, Bluetooth light gun support, that's a more question for accessories manufacturer.
Yeah.
The right question to ask us is, once they're available, can we bring support for these products that these guys have made, right? So right now, there is no Bluetooth light gun. Yeah. So we are not able, or I shouldn't say we are not able to bring, it's just not available. It's not out there. So there's no like Bluetooth light gun for us to support.
Yeah. If one gets into our hands that we can use and then we can integrate it nicely into our system, that's the potential for it, right? But do realize that we had to integrate all of these drivers, even for Sinden and stuff, into our system, right? That took a lot of time. That's a lot of dedication for us. We're a small team. That's a lot to process, honestly, too, to add something like that into our system. Something like, it might be easier on something like Windows or Linux, right? Something that's already set up for years and years, for decades now, right? Our OS is 2 years old, technically speaking. Even though it's Android, it's still a brand new OS, technically speaking, because we manipulated so much. So for us to integrate drivers was almost brand new to us, honestly, in this case, in a sense. So keep that in mind with other things. We try to integrate a Bluetooth light gun that, if it ever exists, right, for us that we can bring on properly. That's a lot of things that go into that. All right. Are we doing full Q&As? Are we just open up Q&A? Is that what we're getting to?
I guess so. All right. So. Shall we go to the top?
Yeah, I mean, we
can. There were a lot of questions.
I just make people just write their questions again. I'm lazy. There's a lot of questions. I know, so. If you got more questions, go ahead and put them in the chat now. Put like a bunch of Q's or asterisks or question marks in front of them, something that we can see and just pick out real easily, please.
I just saw a real question.
Pull it up. Real question. What is a girl in a bikini doing running around the jungle? Sir,
it's hot.
You've never been in a jungle before. Yeah, it's extremely hot. It's real hot. It's moist. There's a lot going on there. Yeah. Remember that the entire point of Operation Wolf also is to save the VIPs. You don't think that she might just be a VIP in this? There's not hostages.
There you go.
There are hostages. Stage 5, I believe, is stage 5. Yeah, that's an internment camp. That is a POW camp. So just so you know. All right, let's see here. Other questions. John, you want to bring up questions? You want me to bring up questions?
Yeah,
sure.
I can do it. I think we answered this question already, but you can add it to original camps. You can use joysticks and buttons to play. Mm-hmm. And again, we spent a lot of time to make it perfect, and it's great. Yeah.
Yep.
So check it out. I would actually
play that. The game is only one player, so just say Operation Wolf is only one player game. Yeah.
Yeah. This is my suggestion, right? I mean, we have 30-minute policy, right? No questions, refund policy. That was again there so that you can try the game out. If you don't like it, you can refund it. We put that in so that you can actually try out the game. I mean, if I'm looking at our pages, for example, seeing a lot of complaints about how the horrible game is, and right, about 99% of the time, people who are complaining about games have never tried the game out. So I'm like, how do you know that the game sucks if you haven't tried out the game, right? At that time is when these people lose my credibility, right? So I would strongly recommend trying out the game. Again, we put that 30-minute refund policy there for you for a reason. If you don't like it, you just return the game. But Games like this, for example, Operation Wolf, we did spend a lot of time to make the joystick experience great. So try it out. If you don't like it, just refund it. If you like it, then you just found a great game for you, right?
Let's see here. Other things we can get to.
Oh, I'm seeing a lot of this question.
Oh yeah. This is welcome back to my world, John. And I'm here weekly, and I see these questions all the time.
All right, I'll take this one.
Okay.
So initially, when we released Gold Edition units, we told you that it's not going to be for a while. That we're going to be really bringing more gold units, right? Yeah. So we strongly recommend it to get it while you can. Now it's sold out. Right now, it's not going to be for a while before we even consider bringing gold editions back. These units are very, very difficult to make. I don't know if I think we told you several times, but these are also very expensive to make. Very, very expensive. Gold edition boards are much more advanced than the ones that are in the classic editions, right? It brings more features, etc., etc. So it's again very difficult, very expensive to make, and bringing these units at the prices that we brought, it's very difficult from our perspective. Losing money. We're losing money on the prices that you bought your units for. So
that's what you call a loss leader. We've been over that before too.
Yeah.
Plenty of times.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And again, do you remember too, Zhang? Do you remember when golds were coming out and all we got were people just saying it's not enough of an upgrade to buy?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
There are differences that we've been over plenty of times now. Again, these are different cabs. They are very similar. And of course, they do play the exact same games, right?
Yeah.
Again, we've been totally open and honest with that too. We're not trying to leave these things in the dust, and we're not. You have one game so far that works with one additional feature, which is a light gun, which you technically have to purchase yourself anyway that we don't sell, right? So keep that in mind. It's one game, guys. Don't lose your hats. We're not leaving anybody else in the dust or anything. Don't worry. The standard cabs do everything else that these do, except they don't have the lit marquee, they don't have the sound by JBL, and they can't do a light gun capability right now too, right? And that's it. Beyond that,
And this one game, it also plays on classic editions, right?
It does.
So keep in mind, you can play with joystick configuration.
Yeah, and we still do plan to continue that going forward as well too, with games that there's no games on our radar right now that we have that we don't plan to keep working with standard as well as with gold too. So
so just to again answer this question real quickly, right now we don't have any plans to bring it, but right now I'm talking releasing immediately. Right now there's no plan to release it like immediately, but maybe in the future.
It's not we're not thinking about it. It's that there's nothing right now that we can currently tell you about it.
Right. Right. I think Michael mentioned it before too. Maybe second half, maybe later second half. But right now, immediate perspective, we don't have any coming to the shores.
Yeah, and this is something else too that we've actually answered in the past when we were releasing golds as well too, and we've talked about this multiple times. The question is, would you ever consider selling a gold edition board conversion kit for OG cabs? Not an option. We've actually talked about this before in a couple of ways. Really, the sound by JBL is a big thing for us too. That we can't do that. But beyond that too, there are just different connections on the board, especially like what is it, like the electrical loop or whatever too. It's just that you have to have those connections plugged in. So without them, it's not good. And you don't have things like a lit marquee and stuff, right? And we just can't. Then we're going to sell a marquee with it as well too, right? And then we have to sell the wiring with that as well, right? That's an added cost. That's a lot for printing and things too, right? There are little things that adds up, right? $5 here, $5 there adds up a lot to a company like us in a BOM cost, right? Because when you're talking into the thousands of things, right? Say you say 5,000 of something, and then $5 times 5,000, right? For us in a BOM cost, that's $15,000 right there. And then you want another $3 product here because this piece is a little bit better, right? Then 3 times 5,000, right? Then it's a monster as far as money goes, right? For us. So there's things like that to take into account as far as doing upgrade kits and stuff. It's not a possibility. We've talked about this in the past too. So
we actually looked into into this very heavily, right?
Yeah, we really tried on this one.
Yeah, we wanted to make it happen for you, and looked into it very heavily. But like Michael said, it is difficult from technical perspective as well. And also for you to install, it wasn't going to be easy. But most importantly, like I said before, gold edition boards are very advanced and it's very, very expensive. And it's much more expensive than what we had in the classic edition. Therefore, if we were to sell you the board as an upgrade kit, it would have been much better for you to just get the gold edition.
That's what we essentially came to.
Yeah, that's how
that the cost would not have saved you anything. So that's when we were releasing goals, that's what we said, honestly, too. So we have receipts on that. Anyway, I got shares on that. But and when we say that the gold board is more advanced, what we mean is the circuitry on the board itself, right? So we realize that, yes, it's the same processor, it's the same amount of RAM and things like that. However, the configuration of the board is a totally different thing. It does have a couple other things too, like it has a scalar chip and stuff that we talked about for HDMI out. So that's a difference, technically speaking, in that too, along with the software stuff like the JBL sound. But beyond that, the PCB itself is a very, very, very different and unique board that we tooled and housed ourselves too. So, and it is different with the audio board integrated with it as well too, right? So
same chipset, same memory, so that you can run the same games on both devices. Everything else is different.
Yeah.
So
just so that people kind of understand that. Yeah. What else we got in questions here?
Looking for questions.
We can get to.
Of course, Michael B has to ask. I don't know.
Every time you release a game, when's the next game? Don't you worry, right?
Here's another question. Is there flying cars yet? Yes, there is.
You think I trust people with flying cars? I don't trust people on the road, let alone if they were flying. There's no way.
Yeah, they're flying cars. We have time machines here. I am living in the future after all. Let's see. Looking for questions. Going down the list.
You guys can keep putting in questions in the chat. Don't worry about it. Try not to spam, but it's okay. It's okay for now because it's hard for us to keep scrolling up all the time too. Oh, okay. Here's one that I'm going to answer quick too. No update on Zhang Pong today. It's actually now rebounds, by the way, rebounds. Yeah, so I didn't have a lot of time this week, and I actually didn't have a lot of time today. You guys might not know because the game was delayed earlier because I actually ripped open my stitches from surgery on my back. So John doesn't even know this. So it was a bloody massacre. Yeah, don't worry about it. Anyway,
oh my God.
I actually tore my stitches earlier. So this morning I was literally about to I was getting everything ready for Operation Wolf release, guys. And I literally popped open my stitches and I'm just bleeding all over the place. In my chair at home.
My God.
So I had to go to the hospital and get restitched. My car was all I had to get my car cleaned. And so it was bad. It was so bad.
It was gone to hospital.
It was I did because I had to get restitched up, but it was like a murder scene. I had to clean up in my car because it's on my back.
Oh my God.
Anyway, so there's no update for rebounds today is what it's called now. I did do a minor update, by the way, for you guys. It's 0.1.4 currently. So if you're not on 0.1.4, it does include a little bit of an AI, but it's a very basic version of the AI. So I'm going to get to it more this weekend. Keep in mind, guys, too, rebounds it's not really even an iiRcade thing. It's just a me thing for you guys, an experiment. So I do all this outside of work, outside of the office. I do have a life a little bit too, so I am getting to it as fast as I can because it's my little project right now too, and I want to keep up with it. But just as a heads up, this is not something that I work on in the office. This is something that's just for a fun little experiment with you guys and stuff like that outside of the office too. So just so you know.
Yeah, I personally think that's a really cool thing that you're doing for the community. So I thank you.
We had to get it out there eventually, right? So
yeah. I personally think I'm personally enjoying the game a lot here.
Yeah.
So. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, it's only going to get better. Don't worry. Jerry's asking too, Mr. Jerry, what causes unregistered scores? I have several. So unregistered on the iiRcade leaderboards, right? So for like ROM games and stuff, if you're showing up as unregistered, if you contact us at contact@iiRcade.com, all we need is your account email, as well as, which is probably the email you're going to send from anyway too, right? Give us your account as well as your device ID specifically that's showing up with unregistered names, and we can fix that for you pretty much instantly, right? If you're talking about a different game, like I know Wizard of Oz still suffers some no names occasionally too. That's not related to this issue, actually. That's part of the game itself too. That's up to the developer on their end to sort of fix that a little bit more. But yeah, if you're showing up on like a game like Operation Wolf, say, totally our game, right? So those are our leaderboards. You press Z, they open up the leaderboards. If it says unregistered for your score, send us contact. So sometimes it just doesn't update properly on the back end. So, but we can take care of that pretty quick. Yep. You pulling up questions? You got more questions? I figure we'll go back.
Going down the list. Going down the list.
Whenever you're ready.
Thought there were a lot of questions. There are more comments.
Don't worry, you just gotta scroll back up to get to sometimes.
Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I pulled that one from the bottom, huh?
Go for it.
Let's see here. Let me scroll up. What can I answer here? I can't talk about that. I can't talk about that. Can't talk about games I can't talk about either, of course, as always.
Actually, a lot of same questions being asked.
Oh, here's a good one. So I touched on this a little bit too, but Herblors is asking what the recommended distance to stand from an iiRcade with Lycan is. By the way, thank you guys. Yeah, you're welcome. No worries. So again, I was just playing from here earlier. I'm about 7 feet back. I know it's weird with the camera, right? So I'm about 7 feet back from my hand to the machine right now. So it's pretty far distance. You can stand back again. As far as this cord goes on your Sinden Lightgun, you can pretty much stand that far back. We've played way back in the office to testing. We were going in and out all the time, right? So you can go as far back as you want, honestly, with these things, and it should read just fine too. The only thing, again, you have to worry about is glare on the screen itself, right? So if it's a bright, sunny day and there's a lot of glare in there, if it's seeing if it's trying to see white of any sort, from your roof or anything else too, or cameras or bounce lights or whatever else, if you're trying to record something, that'll affect it. Otherwise, you can stand as far back as you want. You're good. Yeah, you don't have to be right up next to the screen.
It depends on how man you are. It depends on how much of a man you are.
I like to be. I don't know if that has something to do with it too, but I like to be a good distance back. I like to be a good 4, at least 5 feet back, I would say, from the gun to the screen. I don't know. That's my play field personally is where I prefer. But if you want to be right up next to it, go for it. You can.
Actually, yeah. Me just thinking my engineering side of things. If I take a gun and just put it right in front of the screen, yeah. I don't think it's gonna have a good effect because of the camera, right? It's a camera system,
yeah.
Right? It has to detect the white border.
It wants to take in that whole thing, yeah. So you really should be right up next to it. But you can play. I can play super close here.
Oh, can you?
I can show you guys real quick here.
Cheater.
So I'm actually playing. It might be a little hard to see my screen, I know, but
he's a cheater.
My cable here. So, whoops! Did not recalibrate my gun properly. There we go. Okay, perfect. So I'm still about here. If you see where I'm standing, about
Does
here,
it work?
No. So this is about a foot away from the screen, and this is not working too well. If I bounce a little bit back, now I'm working right here. So I'm about 1.5 feet, 2 feet back from the screen. That's probably your minimum distance is about 1.5 feet, 2 feet. So.
That's how he gets his high scores.
It's not bad. No, so I play from about where my chair is in my way right now too. But so playing from about right here, this is good for me. So, and again, the angle doesn't matter too much. However, it's probably best that you don't play from super far below. I wouldn't necessarily play from a seated position that's super low. But dead on, you're good to go and stuff like that too. Or for kids and things too. If kids are playing the game too, they're probably fine. However, I would say you might want to put a little box or something, so a little step stool. Oh, where we go? My gun. There we go. But yeah, distance wise, you're good.
Can the gun be used for any of the existing games too? No.
Not yet.
The game has to be Lightgun game.
Yes. Okay. What else we got here?
How are the Sinden guns racist?
Nice.
Yes, they love Smurfs.
They love blue. They do love blue.
Blue, absolutely.
Blue is also the best color of slushy. I will die on that hill.
Oh my god!
Blue is the best flavor.
Slushies.
Blue is the best flavor. I would go to war for that. Just saying.
Yeah, I actually blue slushies are my second favorite. Coca-Cola flavor is my favorite from 7-Eleven. I will die for that.
It's been a long time.
I miss it. Oh,
when you're back. There was
a 7-Eleven right next to my house, and they went out of business. I'm crying because I cannot have my Coca-Cola slushies anymore. Love those Coca-Cola slushies.
So they're planning to add the game store directly to the arcade cab. There's been a plan for that for a long time, actually. Approximately, we can't give you that. However, that's in the plan still.
Yeah.
Buying games directly from the cabinet itself too. Yeah. Again, because that doesn't just benefit you, that actually benefits us more than you think it does. So as far as the business goes.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on here at the moment. So
again, we've talked about well, I've said in the past couple weeks too. We are in the midst of a very large software project that we've been in the midst of for almost a year now, honestly, too, on top of all of this, right? So beyond that we have not announced yet, that we'll talk about it when we want to talk about that one essentially too. That's totally different. So with that, we've been a little backlogged on things too, but yes, there are features we know that we want to get in there too. Upgrades for the online, right? Upgrades for the interface of the cabinet, things like that. So stuff that we've talked about.
Let's see a couple of questions. John, can you please tell our community if you're going to introduce soon a new cabinet? I don't know what our community is, but right now we have no plans to introduce a new cabinet.
What is iiRcade?
I don't know.
Keep going. I'm sorry.
I haven't heard of them. Sorry. Do the leaderboard say gun and joystick? I don't think it does, right, Michael?
It doesn't currently, no. Yeah, that's something that I would love to have in there, but not currently, no. So they're still the same basic leaderboards for now. Yep. Leaderboards in general, we'd like to do a nice little overhaul at some point on, for sure, to add things like that included, right? That'd be a cool one. All right. Any other questions? We've been going for almost an hour now, too. It's been good.
Time flies.
Take a couple more questions. If there are any pressing questions that we have not gotten to yet, go ahead and put them in the chat now, and we can get to those.
Yes, and I think I've seen most of the questions from the top. And they're mostly same questions, the ones that we have answered. So
this is one that I don't know. Kyle F's asking about a Saturn update. There is no update plan for Saturn that I know of. So you know. I don't know. There's no update plan for Saturn that I'm aware of, at least. Sean, what are you doing?
I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Sorry, I was reading comments.
See, it's so weird, guys, when I'm just not alone. I'm not used to having a co-host at all right now. So I'm like readjusting. It's been some time since I've had a co-host on the stream with me. So I am very, very different when I have a co-host.
I'm not here.
Yeah. Well, I'm used to having you, and then I usually have Colin too, so I can usually kind of bounce off everybody, right? We've already talked about no possibility of upgrades to the boards. You can rewind, watch the replay if you need to on that one too. See, iiRcade glass in stock. Yeah, I'm actually looking at it right behind this camera right now. So yes, there's plenty. Yes. We ship those out within the week to you guys too, when we see the orders. So yep, and those come pretty quick. Those are here in Chicago. Again, there's some right in this room with me here. So they're nice and bundled up together in their boxes. Let's see here.
Hey, Crop Neurons here. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate that.
How much more dangerous is Chicago Zhang now that he's holding Sinden's?
You do know that Chicago is a city of gangsters, right?
Well, he's got the hyper-clacking gun over there too. I don't know how this man has a better Sinden gun than I do, because I thought that I had the best one.
Nope.
Yours sounds like it could literally kill a man, and mine sounds like it's, it shakes in my hand, but.
Well, who said this was a Sinden Lightgun?
Did Glenn give you a special gun?
No.
I don't believe it.
I never said this was a Sinden Lightgun.
All right. We'll probably take two more questions. Let's get into two more questions. We'll call it a day. Been rambling on for a while now, too. I believe we've answered pretty much all the questions, honestly, too. Anything else that we can answer on the game itself, Operation Wolf, too, on, Sinden Lightguns, on iiRcade, too, on the open accessories platform, potentially, too.
Nick loves his gold death cell. That's the exactly same one that I have as well.
Yeah, I got one of those right here. Yeah, that's right there. There you go.
I love mine. I bought mine, too, by the way. I buy my units, but love it. I think it's beautiful.
Let's see. Anything else that I missed in the chat here? Let's go up.
Is Best Buy going to carry new gold cabinets? No.
You can still pick up Retromania at Best Buy too. I don't know that they're on sale or not right now. I forget.
I'll take this question. Any chance we still see an MFL? Never know. We'll see. We're still great friends with them, but we'll see.
Here's one that we've been asking. I've actually talked about this before too, by the way, because I did test this out. So Brooklyn Menace is asking, if you run an HDMI out to a large
That's
screen,
a great question.
can you point to Sinden at it to play? The answer is technically yes. Technically. However, caveat, the delay time in response between that screen, between the gun getting fed into the game through HDMI is not the same as if you're playing on the screen. So yes, you technically can. It picks it up. It's just delayed by about a full second, which is way too long, honestly, to play a Lycon game. So it doesn't quite work out yet. Will that be changed in the future? I have no idea, because that's not something that is like really up to us too much. Honestly, I don't even know if that's in our hands or not at that point. That's something that's to really play on a true projection like that. I think what I've discovered is that you really need to play off of the projector itself directly, in a sense that it's not being fed through HDMI, in a sense that our motherboard is the projector, if that makes sense, right? Because the problem is that you're taking the gun and you're feeding the information the gun is getting fed back into the machine, which is going into our board, which is also running the game. It's telling the game that, right? And then at the same time, you're telling that to then feed through HDMI visually what's on screen, right? So that's how the HDMI works. However, if you're trying to play off of the HDMI, the Sinden is actually playing off of the HDMI screen a little bit, but there's a delay because it doesn't like the response between the HDMI out versus what's actually on the screen at the time, if that makes sense. It causes like a weird feedback. It's not a feedback loop, but it's like it's a weird loop it doesn't like. I can tell you that. So no, the answer is not really, but technically yes. We'll see if that improves in the future, though. It's something that, I'm really curious on as well, too. That's just a fun tech experiment, honestly, for us, more than anything else. So
I'm seeing a few more questions. I just like answering all the questions.
Go for it. I know you haven't been here in a while. I've been here, so go. Have at it.
Let's do it. Nuna, I think this is a question for you. Not sure if it was asked, but will there be any swappable decks for Gen 1 cats, possibly with a trackball? This is what Glenn is working on right now, right?
Correct, for GRS, yeah. And so that's going to work, again, since Bluetooth is not an option for that, right? So we're talking about, we've been working on for a while now, is Bluetooth for that stuff, right? So, yeah, and Bluetooth trackball and spinner, by the way, works totally just fine, too. It's the same as like an Xbox controller's Bluetooth, same thing. So that stuff works totally fine. Your difference with a Bluetooth light gun is an entirely different monster, right? Because there's just so much different data being fed into it. That's the difference with the light gun versus something like a trackball spinner or like an Xbox or a PlayStation controller that's wireless. That stuff's totally fine to play games with Bluetooth, by the way. There's no real response time that you're going to notice in lag or anything like that. So just to not let people have misinformation out there. Yeah, that stuff will work just fine. But that's what we're working on. Yep, is Bluetooth.
Next few questions from Bill. How's it going, my friend? There's an upgrade program to upgrade for there's no. Yeah,
we talked about this earlier today. Yep.
Yeah. All right.
Again, because again, it would not cost you less in the long run. Like you wouldn't save any money. That's why we didn't do that to begin with.
Here I'm wondering if he meant upgrade program from a classic to
maybe to swap into a gold, essentially.
Yeah. I would say no. So we don't have gold editions right now. So
not right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So Michael B, will you be producing more standard edition iiRcade editions?
So we have the standard editions that were sold for the Kickstarter already with oh my gosh, Retro Knockout. So the Retro Knockout standard edition cabinets are coming, yes, 100%. Those ones are already like allotted for and stuff. We have those. We're good. Anyway, parts are good. More standard edition cabs beyond that, there's nothing that's been announced. I don't know that we have any definite plans currently. So we'll see on that too.
Yeah. Just in case anybody may be saying, hey, these guys are going out of business because they're not producing any units, blah, blah, blah. We have bigger plans.
Yeah.
So just as an FYI.
Again, we've talked about it this year. I've tried to stress this so much already earlier on this year that we're currently focused this entire year on software rather than hardware. We are truly at our core a software company disguised as a hardware company, guys. This is what we are. May not seem like it sometimes, but I promise you that's really what we are. So we integrate a lot of systems and things on the back end that you guys just don't see. And we sort of future-proof things that we add in stuff on the back end that you guys just you're unaware of, and we don't talk about them until we're ready to talk about them, right? So beyond that, we do have a different major software project that we're working on. So no worries on that kind of stuff, right? So yes, things just take time. Again, we are a smaller company, we're a smaller team, and software is astronomically difficult, right? So things never go the way that you want it to work the first time, right? It takes a lot of testing. It takes a lot of solutions that you have to put into place. Nothing ever works on the first try. Unfortunately, it's how it goes, right? So yeah. I know it sucks to be patient. However, it's kind of all I can give you right now, right?
Yeah.
So no worries.
Like Michael said, we are focused a lot on software. One of the big reasons is that we want to make you happy, right? We want to bring you awesome stuff, etc., etc. So in order to make that happen, we have a grand plan that we're putting together. But additionally, on the device side as well.
No.
How did he find out?
Hey, beach bike racing is in Teslas, though. Just an FYI.
Yeah. On the just going back on the device side too. Stay tuned because we are having some great discussions on this and that. So just to let you know that just because we don't have any gold editions right now, and we're not doing any standard editions right now, it does not mean what you think.
Yes.
So,
and I understand people's logic of how do you grow a user base when you rely on growing your user base when you have no technical product to sell, right? Beyond the games, right? I understand the logic where people are coming from. So don't worry, we know these things. We're not dumb. I promise you, we're not dumb. But yeah, it's just we cannot unveil things until we're ready to do that, and we have to cross some T's, dot some I's sometimes too. So it's not always in our hands, technically speaking. But yeah.
Yeah. Bill has another question. How about an upgrade for just USB ports? Not possible.
Again, yeah.
A board is something that's fixed. I mean, we cannot add functionality.
Yeah.
On top of what
hardware's hardware. I can't. Yeah. Again, you can't. Yeah. Like John said, you can't grow a third arm. Sort of, I guess technically, but yeah, maybe in some weird genetic mutation. But yeah.
Let me get. Papa Brett says, "Are you working on iiRcade console for TV?" No. I didn't know there was such a rumor, but thanks for letting me know. But no.
Okay. Anything else? I think there's no pressing questions, right? Okay.
Is that all?
Let's see. I don't know. Any other questions that I can answer? I can see. Okay. Online lobbies, a dead issue. Nope. Again, I've talked about this so many times. So all the time I talk about this stuff. Oh my gosh. No, it's just they're not dead. No. We're working on things in the background right now. We just cannot unveil them until we're ready to unveil them. Things like online features are, yes, still in the works. So online is still technically in alpha right now too. Yep. It's been a while.
Yeah, hey, Michael.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Got it. Somebody has a question for you. Question one, how are you so goddamn handsome?
You guys need to get out more. I don't know. plenty of other people in the world. Thank you, Don. Yeah, I'm excited. Summer's almost here. I told these guys too. I like to dev in the summer, John. I don't know why. I go into create mode in the summer for some reason too. And people are like, we should be going outside. I love to stay inside for some reason during that time. I don't know why, and make stuff. So I'll be doing that a lot. But just wait, you guys. I'm gonna get so tan this year. I'm gonna be so tan and so blonde. It's gonna be amazing. Maybe then we'll grow the mustache back. Who knows, right?
The stash.
It's gonna be a look. Anyway,
I want to see the stash.
All right. Any other pressing questions that we need to get to right now too? I think we've pretty much gotten to everything. Let's see here too. Any other questions you want to pull up, John?
Light gun, better in dark room or lighted?
Dark. The darker, the better.
Uh-oh.
The darker, the better.
That sounds like Star Wars.
Yeah. So you can play in a lit room. I was actually earlier. The sun's going down a little bit here in Chicago too, but earlier I was playing pretty lit, honestly. And this is the window is over here. So even though the window's closed, there's still a lot of light in this room, and there's a lot of glare from these. We have a white ceiling that has white fluorescent kind of lights too that we're on. So that kind of is really what causes more of an issue, honestly, than my sunlight. But no, yeah, as long as it's a decently medium dark room, how about that too? You don't have to be pitch black or anything like that too, but as long as it's not the brightest sunny room ever, you might get problems there playing on games. But beyond that, you're pretty okay usually. And again, if you see like a lot of glare on your screen, especially, that's really what's going to cause you the issue. So keep that in mind.
Next question, assuming you can't talk about it, but any idea of restricting ones to 1 credit for a separate leaderboard?
Not at the moment.
Right?
No, like these are things, again, that we would love to sort of have in the future, right? I'd like to have a more robust leaderboard, kind of different things that we've talked about, right? So we talked about that a little bit. There's nothing on that right now. Stay tuned on that kind of stuff. Yeah. So right now, no, it's still the same basic leaderboards. Right now, there's no 1 credit on it. So it is sort of more of an endurance trial, unfortunately, because we had to change it to infinite credits for the game, to infinite continues, I should say, is what it is, right? So for now, and the game itself doesn't reset the score when you do that because it's not really allotted for that. So yeah, that was sort of an oversight that we didn't really see until we had to change it to infinite continues, which we didn't expect to have to do, honestly. So sometimes you get requests. Things change last minute.
How much more dangerous am I? Chicago down. Now that he's holding.
We went over this. You're way back up there now. We've already been over this question. Yeah. We already showed that on screen. It was like half an hour ago.
I am very, very dangerous now.
Is there an iiRcade handheld in the future? Don't hold your breath on that one, too. We get asked about this, and we get asked about a handheld, and probably pinball is like our other one that we get asked about all the time. And I would say don't hold your breath on either of those, honestly, too. I don't really,
Not really interested. Yeah.
Not really, honestly, too. I mean, Stern's right here in Chicago next to us, too. We got, there's another really good pinball table you guys play all the time, too, that I know, too. We don't need to really compete with that. There's no real reason for us, but you already have that, you know? We wouldn't offer anything different that I could think of on something like that for pinball, you know? I don't know. I have to flex my brain on that one, but I don't think so. There's no pinball coming. There's no pinball coming.
Yeah, no interest in pinball whatsoever. I mean, you have other great solutions out there, right?
It's not something we've ever really thought too deeply on, honestly.
Yeah.
That one I'm okay saying. So.
Yeah. Now I'm seeing questions about like other Lightgun games, etc., but we cannot talk about those, as you guys know.
Yep.
Contractual reasons.
For right now, you've got Operation Wolf. That's all we've ever said too. That's even when we said, yes, if Sinden's coming, if you want Operation Wolf and you feel that's enough to buy your Sinden gun, that's it. Okay, we're not promising any other titles. That's where we've been for a long time now. We've promised only that. So, Operation Wolf.
II glasses. Bill wants some great retro titles in the future. We are working on it, my friend.
Yep, retro and both modern too. We know you guys want both of them all the time. All the time.
Yeah. Just to let you know, we're working very, very hard on game licensing. Michael is doing a phenomenal job on it, and so is our team. As you guys may know, licensing takes a very long time. It's extremely difficult. Long time, hard work to get it licensed. And then afterwards, as you guys have seen already, how long it takes to get it out the door. So
yeah,
it's
hard. The more obscure titles too. I know it may seem to a lot of people too for licensing, like the more obscure arcade games might be easier to license. It's honestly usually the opposite, weirdly enough. You kind of find these weird games that like they look like they're easy. It seems like they've just been sitting there for no reason and you could just make money off of them, right? For as like a business kind of venture, right? Doesn't work that way. So a lot of times people don't know who owns the license too is a problem, right? So we contact one person, we think they own the license. They're like, I own part of the license, but you've also got to contact this person, that person, that person. They want a different deal than this person. They want a different deal. They want a different, it's a whole thing, right? So yeah, so licensing for even the weird obscure kind of arcade games, not always the easiest thing too. It seems like it should be simple. It rarely ever is, right? So me playing the games on the system, usually pretty simple, honestly, too. Yeah. I test them out all the time, too. We look at thousands and thousands of arcade games as well as modern games, too, all the time. Yeah, so we are constantly contacting modern developers as well, too, through, emails, through Twitter and stuff like that, too. It doesn't mean that we get responses either, so.
Oh, my God. Looks like we have to start over. Jeff is here now.
Scrap it. Hour and 12 minutes down the drain. Hour and 10. That's it. Okay.
All right, we start over. Hey guys, how's it going?
Andy Parkett, probably not.
No.
So Andy's asking, will you ever do another Kickstarter for future releases? No, probably not.
No.
No.
I actually don't want to do another Kickstarter project ever again.
Yeah, Kickstarter's a pain in the butt, guys. You guys
Yeah,
don't even know.
it's
It's
hard.
a pain. You usually end up spending more money than you actually make in the long run, unless your Kickstarter does astronomically well, and you're like a board game where you're not really you're like printing on paper versus like making a full scale machine. Very different things. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
you got to keep in
Kickstarter is
mind like
fantastic.
yeah,
Yeah, Kickstarter is fantastic. But like exactly like Michael said, it's not for making money. It's more for I've done several Kickstarters. It is advertising. It is really marketing. It's really expensive. So it's very difficult to make money out of it. Right? It's again very, very, very hard. So I don't want to do it again.
All right. Any other questions, John? I think we're pretty good. We're going a little over an hour now, so probably cut it out.
Yeah, almost done. Let me just go through. I'm almost done.
Okay. I'll let you do it because you haven't been here in a while, so I'll let you. I got you.
Oh, thank you. I just want to be with my family. I missed everybody. So, you guys don't go anywhere. Let's see.
I mean, we literally launched games that released on PC this year. So
yeah,
that does happen. Yeah. So what you guys consider a modern game? A lot of people say modern, but what they mean is 3D, typically speaking, right? So we do have plenty of modern titles, right? A game like Galacticon is a modern game. People don't realize that that's a much different thing than an arcade game to get onto the system too. A lot of times it can be easier. Sometimes it can be harder. It depends, right? So, but yeah, how big can we handle? I mean, even like Dead Effect 2 was a PS4 game, right? Yeah, Dead Effect 4 was a PS4 game. Games like Beach Buggy and stuff too, those take a good amount of processing power too. Just because you might see something on like an Android phone or tablet too, does not mean that it does not take a lot of processing power. The thing in your pocket, guys, is a computer. That thing is advanced. So just so you know, your chipsets and stuff and those kind of things in a modern day phone especially is massive. So you're not talking just because it's small doesn't mean it's not powerful. So with that in mind too, yeah, we literally have PS4 games on the console right now. So I know at least up to there too. I wouldn't say PS5. We have Switch games on here. We've got full just PC ports on here too that just got, changed over to our system for Android. But yeah, plenty of power in there. It depends on how well optimized the game is. It's really what it is.
Hey, I got a question that I like. How are you so handsome? Thank you. I love the question. I think the answer is because you may not be wearing your glasses. But thank you for that anyway. Appreciate it. Randy wants both of us to have statues. What do you think?
I mean, if Jean grows a mustache, you guys can all hold me to it. I will regrow my mustache in even more glory than anyone's ever seen it grown before.
You're on. I am lazier than you think in terms of shaving.
Guys, the Chicago summer is a big dating scene. I don't know if I could keep the mustache, but I'll do it. You know what? I'll do it. I'm just saying.
You're on.
It's gonna affect my social life a little bit, but it's okay.
Gene! Woo! When's the next Game and Brew? It's Game and Brew every single day, my friend.
It's not every single day.
Well,
nothing planned. The next Game and Brew that we do is going to be not in the office. We're gonna find a space for it. Yeah, we're gonna find a nice bar that has arcades in it too that we can bring stuff to. That's how we'll do that.
Well, for me, I play games and I drink every single day.
That's fair.
I'm seeing a lot of questions asking about games that we haven't announced.
Yeah, I can't talk about this.
Nope.
It's usually that's where we get to. Yep. Okay. All right. I think we're good.
Give me 1 second. I'm almost.
Okay. You got one more question?
Let's see. We'll see. Give me 1 second. I just want to make sure we answer all the questions before we go.
Cool.
Can you maybe sing or something, Michael, while I'm looking at this? Because I don't want people to get bored.
I cannot. However, see, this is what happens whenever I'm scrolling through the chat, and then I'm just kind of sitting here for a minute. And I feel so awkward, and I tell people, I'm like, oh yeah, sorry, because we got to scroll through multiple feeds and stuff too. So it's always fun, right, on our ends. But yeah, let's see. I'll talk more about Operation Wolf itself too, right? So again, going back to Operation Wolf, we'll start circling back before we end the show here too. So yeah, Operation Wolf is available $12.99 on the iiRcade today on store.iiRcade.com/games, technically speaking. You don't need the /games though. But yeah, it is in the light gun category as well. But you can, of course, use the search feature to find it. Controls and options are going to be right there in the instructions. Sinden setup as well too. If you are using a light gun on a gold edition cabinet for this game, make sure that you do watch our video. It's very important that you're on version 1.9 of the Sinden driver software. So it literally takes a couple minutes. It's super, super duper easy. And then otherwise, outside of that, it's plug and play. Don't be a dummy like me and plug in the light gun and immediately launch the game. It won't register the controller for literally like a full second, right? So like, give it a single second, because I used to do that all the time while testing. I'd have the game loaded up, ready to go, and then I'd plug in the controller and instantly hit it, and it wouldn't work until I relaunched the game. And I thought it was a bug. Turns out it was just me being dumb and impatient. So yeah, just as an FYI on that. So yeah, did you find a question? Put it on.
By the way, while you're playing, while the game is running, don't plug out the gun.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about that. Yeah, so that will cause the game to crash. By the way, if somebody does yoink the gun out, that will cause the game to crash, just as an FYI, because it's looking for that controller, and when it doesn't see it, it says no. So
Kevin says, I like this Asian guy. Can he join future streams? Well, first of all, I am American. I'm in Korea right now, and nobody sees me as an Asian
John
guy.
is more American than me. Like, that's the weirdest thing, honestly. People don't realize that. I just might be like a blonde-haired white dude, but like you're more American than I am, which is crazy to me all the time.
Put it this way, Michael eats cup of noodles while I eat sandwiches.
True statement. It's unreal.
By the way, Mike, I'm gonna bring you some more awesome cup of noodles from Korea.
Good.
So stay tuned. I'm gonna get you fat. You know, did I tell you how I do my diet? It's by feeding everybody else that's around me so that they become fat, so that I look skinny compared to them. That's how I do my.
This is the master plan. You told me this before, guys.
It is, and I plan to get Michael fat. You know,
tried. 3 years you tried.
Well, we still have like about 30 more years to go, so I have my time. You know, Michael works out. Michael's like really physical and things like that, but. I think I can win and get him fat. So root for me. I will get him fat.
Right now because I got stitches, but yeah.
Oh, there's my chance.
This is it. You got 3 or 4 weeks.
How about if I get Michael really fat and have him do stash? I think he's gonna look really, really awesome. What do you think?
I don't know if I can pull that look off. I don't know. I don't know if it's physically possible for me. Anyway,
a cup of noodles do a really fantastic job. So I'll bring you some more cup of noodles.
Any other questions in the chat that you found? That you're going for?
I'm going looking. Almost done. Done.
Okay.
Almost.
You got to wrap it. We got to wrap it up here, Jean.
Yes, I just want to answer all the questions.
You got to let these guys play Operation Wolf. And other games in the console too. Remember too.
Sox game. Woo!
Oh God, of course, Sox game. Sox game. Come on, MCAP. Sox game.
Sox.
We're not doing a Cubs game. Can we at least do a Cubs
Sox
game?
all the way. Sox all the way.
All right.
Sox all the way.
We're going to a Bears game then later on this year. At least we can do a Bears game. Come on, can we?
We had a football team?
Oh.
Sorry, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're moving the stadium too, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I heard.
We'll bring a machine.
The Arlington race course, right? That's where it's gonna be.
I have no idea. Yo, can I take a machine to a racetrack? Is that a thing that I can do? Anyway, that's fun.
We have
without getting further off topic. Take one more question if you got it, John.
When will Glenn's product come to iiRcade?
It's a great question.
It is. See, told you. Soon?
Am I answering that? Are you answering that? Okay.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Soon?
So the only thing holding back the product right now is getting the Bluetooth functionality for the controllers working properly, essentially for us. Otherwise, everything works. So they do work on gold editions as well too. They can be plugged in on gold editions. At least the basic model that he's working on currently. Other future models, I have no idea. Glenn does his own thing. He's a mad scientist in the arcade world. I let him do his thing. So I like watching the man work. But yeah, so no date planned on that currently, right? That I can announce. It's simply because it's held up on our end specifically by Bluetooth connectivity problems that we're working through, essentially. So, yep. And that's because we want to get these things working on the standard edition cabinets, not just the gold edition cabinets. So again, not leaving it in the dust. The entire point of it is to get it working on the standard editions or else not released, essentially. But it's going to be released. Don't worry about that. So, yeah.
I see a couple more questions, and I'm at the end. Show us the karaoke. I know it's well, Richardo, we'll think about karaoke when you rap for us. Right. So, let us know first if you can rap.
Ichabod Crane, man after my heart here. I'm going to play some Rigid Force Redux. Yep, Rigid Force.
That's a fantastic game.
Yeah.
Love the game.
Don't worry, because immediately I released that game and heard that we have no modern games on the system, even though we released a modern game that very day. This is the world that I deal in sometimes.
We get it all the time. Yeah. I mean, these comments are coming from people who have not seen or played the game. That's what I don't understand. I'm like,
okay. Try
the game, right? If you say it's not there or you don't like whatever, then we'll listen. Yeah. But if you don't even try, you want us to listen? Yeah. I don't think so.
And yes, we do see all the game comments. Don't worry on that, guys. I trust me. I know what kind of games you want, and we are looking for them. We're looking at them. It just doesn't. You can't always get what you want sometimes, right? Or it just takes time. That's what it is too. Some contracts just take a little bit more time. Some games
making games. How are you, my friend? What is that one more thing gag? I don't say. So one more thing gag is basically it's not a gag. It's something. So don't
fake one more thing. There's no one more thing, guys. Just pointing that out. There's no one more thing today.
There's no more thing today. Yes. But normally, what we do is if we have a surprise, we go one more thing, and we make an announcement. And if we're gonna launch something, we have a starburst that we have to press. When we press that, a real nuclear bomb flies over to normally our office, but in this case, we may have it fly to your house. And it blows up, and then that's when we launch. So that's basically what it is. So later on, right, whenever we have our next one more thing, we'll see. Maybe you'll be able to see this in person.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while since we one more thing. So.
It has been a while. It has been a while. Yeah, but hopefully soon we'll see. And I think I am at the and no more questions.
Okay.
Look, right. I think looks like. By the way, I'm a huge fan of Brooklyn Menace's show, Friday Night iiRcade show, as well as iiRcadians. If you guys are not subscribed or you have not seen these shows before, I would strongly recommend joining and participating. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Today, I heard a little rumor, Michael, that some stupid person who likes to lose has invited you to challenge to a game of Operation Wolf. Is that true?
We'll see. I'll be in my apartment though, so I might be using joystick. We'll see.
So you're gonna let him have it. Are you gonna play with your left hand, not right hand?
You know I'm a lefty, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. So you're gonna play with right hand. Like this?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll cross.
That's right. You got your lefty. Yeah. Yeah. Here he is.
I'll be on over there with those guys tonight too, because you guys want to check them out too. Playing some games, actually playing games, which I'm excited about because I like to actually play games on the game console that we make. Right, so it's really fun. This is really what we make them for, guys. We make these things to play games because we love games ourselves. So that's really the whole thing, right? So.
Yeah, it'll be Nix is there, so I know that there's going to be Brooklyn Menace versus Michael, and there's going to be Papa Bread versus Michael, but what I'm really looking forward to seeing is Nix versus Michael.
We'll see. Pretty sure he's beaten me before.
I'm pretty sure on the zone. I'm pretty sure Nick's being on the zone all the time.
So I'm looking forward to that. So if anybody's interested in seeing these awesome matches, join the show. Hosted by Brooklyn Menace, 9:30 p.m. CST, Central Standard Time, right?
Is it 9:30 my time? That sounds right.
I think so. That's how I memorize it.
It's late.
In about 2 hours.
It's gonna be late for me. Yeah.
But we're looking forward to seeing you destroy these three guys. Yeah.
Yeah. Or destroy. Yeah. Come watch me get my butt whooped. That's fine too. Plenty of shows on too. Friday night is the arcade night. It seems like for the most part too throughout the week. So yep. Shout out to all of our other friends too. Super Game Room Dudes, I believe, is on tonight too. I don't know who else is on tonight. Somebody else got a Friday show. I don't know.
Friday night arcade show.
We'll see. I don't know.
Looking forward to that.
Anyway, cool.
Join that, and then whenever Papa Brad hosts the next arcade show, join us. I am always on those shows. I just stay quiet because I don't want to interfere. But we're looking forward to seeing you there.
We lurk. I lurk everywhere on the internet. I can tell you that. I'm telling you guys. You may not think that I see it all. Truly, I do. For better or for worse, I have to. The positive, the negative, the neutral. I see it all. So
I try to see it all as well.
Glenn has a show too tonight. Glenn has a show too tonight. There we go.
10:30 p.m. Glenn has a show today as well. So thank you for that. Also, like you said, Super Game Room Dudes is also on today. Mm-hmm. The Friday is a very packed day. So because of that, if there are not any more questions,
let's cut it.
Then we will. Yeah.
Leave you to play Operation Wolf.
Exactly. That's exactly the reason, the secret reason why I'm trying to end the show right now, so I can go play.
All right. Any last words, John? God, that's so much more powerful than anybody else's on Earth.
Right. I never said this was a Sinden Lightgun. It may be a real gun, right? Who knows?
Anyway. Closing words, John? Anything you got? Anything else?
Love you guys. I was gracing my family again. I miss home. I miss everybody. I miss my family. I cannot wait to go home. Sexiest night of the week.
That's right. Friday nights. Friday night YouTube arcade shows. That's it.
Yes.
This is it.
Yes. Friday nights are usually busy watching all these shows.
That's true.
But looking forward to seeing you guys again. Love you guys. Have fun. Enjoy Operation Wolf. And hope you can join the show today where Michael's going to be kicking some butts. Oh, yeah. So we'll see you there.
Get my butt kicked, I'm telling you. All right. And with that, we'll wrap it up. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in. As always, happy Friday. Have a great weekend. I hope you actually get a weekend you don't go to work. Hope you actually get to play some Operation Wolf. We're very excited for this one. Thanks so much for sticking with us. We knew it took a little bit. We're glad it's finally here. Trust me on that one. So it saves me a lot of time. It's great. So have fun. Enjoy Sinden Lightguns too. Again, the first light gun game available on our system for gold editions right now. So we're excited about that too. It took a lot of work. So we're glad it's finally here. It's out in the world. And we're glad a lot of you guys so far have been seeing your videos and stuff so far today even too. I'm glad you're all enjoying it. It's working well. Haven't had any issues yet. So thank you. It's great. So I hope there's no issues on that too.
If you guys have, again, classic editions, I would strongly urge you to at least try it out using joystick and button configuration. If you don't like it, you can always refund it, but who knows? You may like it. So I would strongly recommend trying it out.
The original game was an analog stick, so weirdly enough. Anyway, different experience for sure. Still a different experience, 100%. But not necessarily a bad one, right? So there you go. You never know until you know. All right. And with that, we'll wrap it up. We'll call it a wrap 100% too. Thanks again for tuning in. Thanks for sticking with us here at iiRcade. Until next time, we'll see you. And of course, Young, what do we say? He doesn't even know. He doesn't even know.
Have fun. What, am I supposed to say one more thing?
Game on. Game on, everybody. Game on. All right. Thanks again. Bye.
Operation initiated. Operation Wolf.